Hello, everybody. It's the 101st running of the SoCalSportsReport.com weekly podcast. I'm Vince Morales, filling in for the captain, John Stillman, who is taking an well-earned day off for his birthday.
Happy birthday, Captain.
Happy birthday, Cap.
Number 29.
Number 29 again.
Bio Pappy, happy birthday.
I'm joined by John Adams. Hello, say something, John.
Oh, hey,
when
how
I say
are you?
John Adams,
all right.
You're supposed to say something.
I'm ready to go right to Jake Formansky, yeah.
And Jake Formansky, my boys in the desert. Well, over here.
Yeah. Your boys on the coast. Yeah.
My boys in the Vadio
Easy
right
Prince.
now. That's
Yeah,
what
right,
we're recording from
Yeah.
the Vadio. So my chicos in the Vadio. So tonight, top of the list, top of mind, top of everything is Spygate. The cheating scumbags, the Astrals from Houston, absolutely no remorse and shameful, loathsome. We'll talk all about that, who's chiming in, what the Astrals are still saying. It just is not getting any better. We'll also talk about the milquetoast Rob Manfred and how he just is really sort of the dope in the middle who couldn't get the huevos to do anything to kind of put a real end to this. We'll talk a little bit about the Angels and the Dodgers who have reported to spring training. Games will be starting soon. Also a little bit about Artie Moreno nixing the Jock Peterson and Ross Stripling trade. We can talk a little bit about the XFL and the NBA All-Star Weekend. The Kings have traded away some of their key players who helped them win 2 Stanley Cups. Tyler Toffoli and Alec Martinez both gone, but this is a team with the number 1 farm system in the NHL. We'll talk about other things, but I think we'll get right to Spygate, the cheaters of Houston. John, you're chomping at the bit. Why don't you
go to Jake because I'm typing in a couple
Okay, all right.
here.
So
Yeah.
John is really chomping at the bit. He's got a lot to say. I think we all do. Jake, the first thing that I would ask you is, as an Angels fan in the same division as these guys, just your immediate thoughts at where this has gone right now at this point, where there's had to be multiple attempts at apologies, the commissioner trying to figure out exactly how to state things, and the whole it's just gotten out of hand.
Oh, it's pretty pathetic. I mean, the apologies were some of the worst I've ever seen. And Carlos Correa just needs to shut his mouth. I think that was probably the dumbest thing. Now he's starting to, point the fingers at everybody else, because I guess other players can't get upset for what happened. I mean, you're going down the list. You're not just, cheating and winning World Series. You're ruining guys' careers and lives. Yeah. I mean, there's 2 guys that, are talked about that are out of baseball for good now because of this. And I think that's where, things start to get, players just start to get pissed off. And when you got Nick Markakis and Mike Trout, annoyed by that and upset, that's where, it goes to show you that, a lot of guys are, upset and, rightfully so. And I hope, opening day, I hope the Angels kind of wait in Houston and wait till they get back to Anaheim and then just start beating them. Because
yeah, I hear you.
This is ridiculous.
Again, I'm not a fan of the vigilante justice, just like across the board. I don't want to see Altuve take one off of the orbit bone, and I don't want Bregman breaking his wrist. But at some point, there is going to be retribution, and when players are chiming in of the caliber of Cody Bellinger and Mike Trout, who's been called out specifically by Rob Manfred in the past for not being as colorful a guy, for him to speak up speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's
true. Aaron Judge, Nick Markakis came out. Clevenger has come out. I mean, in addition to all of the others who were talking, and some people like Clayton Kershaw and Doc Roberts are taking a little bit more of a milquetoast approach to it, and that's fine. To each his own. Both of those guys want to focus and keep moving forward. But now another guy has come out on the Astros, Josh Reddick, who's just saying, "Shut up, shut the hell up." You're gonna shut up when we start winning, and it's one of those things where they've started to they have not been penitent at all. There has been no remorse. It's just been this oozing, gross drip of denials, unapologetic. The owner Crane coming out and being really wishy-washy about it, and then getting backed up by the commissioner saying, "Oh, it's just a piece of metal." Well, if it's just a piece of metal, then it's real easy to take it away from them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things that gets said where we know that he means that it wouldn't have mattered to them, but it would have mattered to everybody else. Those guys can say whatever they want about still being the champs or whatever, but if you actually vacate that title and take away that trophy, we're just not sitting here. Mm-hmm. We're not sitting here with guys like Trout and Bellinger and Markakis and Judge and all of these guys chiming in and saying, Markakis wants to throw down. He wants to beat the crap out of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to too, and I just – it's hard for those guys that bust their ass from February all the way to October, do whatever they've been asked to do, to grind their butts off, to try to win a championship for their town, for their state, and to know the whole time they were cheating. And I think, to be honest with you, I just don't think it was 17. I think it was 18 and probably 19,
Absolutely.
right? So what a couple questions I have for you guys is, who hires Manfred? The owners?
Yes.
Okay, so does Crane have power in that ownership?
Of course.
Okay, so there he is, there's why he's going the soft direction, right? And saying, oh, you got to get rid of your GM and your coach. Now, the one thing here is, I guess the question I have for you guys is, if the Dodgers won the World Series, right, would we be talking about this?
It's a good question.
I think so.
It's a good question, and I think locally there would probably be less of it. That was a team that had won. What did they win? 104 games that year.
Yeah.
That was a team that felt destined to win it, and if they had won it, and they almost did win it against a bunch of cheating.
I mean, look at if the Dodgers have some key hits, right? The key, they didn't hit that they hit it well. So if they do hit well, I think they beat the Astros. Are we talking about this, or are they still cheating?
I think because it's perpetual. I think it's because it's perpetual. Even if the Dodgers won, I think that they would have redoubled their efforts to cheat and cheat better.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And say
and I'm going to do this until I actually probably win and go under the microscope, right? And which is just absolute BS, right?
And the other thing is that the Astros management and their PR people need to get their players to shut up. And the only thing that should come out of their mouth is, "We're sorry. We're just looking to play ball now. We are really sorry, and we're just looking to play ball right now. We don't want anybody to get hurt." They need to shut up and stop playing the victims, stop playing the villains, and just apologize and then move on. Because when Correa comes out and starts talking about how we didn't cheat in the playoffs, and then Manfred comes out the next week and says, "No, we've got the evidence that they did."
Right.
And if you just read the Wall Street Journal article, that really lays it out there. And was there an advantage? Absolutely. And anybody who's suggesting that there was just no advantage, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And the whole thing with Manfred, right, is he has the audacity to look at a camera and say, "Look at these guys are going to get hurt emotionally, and they're really going to, and they've apologized, and all. You know what? They're going to get hurt when you take that trophy away." Okay. Now, and again, I don't think the Dodgers should get. I think it should be completely vacant.
Yeah.
Don't hand them a championship. Sorry to tell you this, Vince, but I just think it should be vacant. Right?
I agree.
And I think you should take. I don't think they should be handing out rings. I think you just go throw those in a big thing of hot gas and let it melt and let it pour out. Right. So the other thing too, which has been kind of on the quiet side, is Tony Clark. He's been very, for the players, he's been very quiet. He's just starting to talk a little bit right now. But what I'm getting out of this is, and this is just, take it however you guys want to take it. One, I actually think that A.J. Hinch is a good guy. Okay, I really do. And I think he didn't want to do this. But I think his players are saying, Coach, we need to do this. And he just said, okay, right, to go along with the team. I think the hard part is these players should be sitting down somehow, right? And I don't know if it's Altuve and Bregman sit down in, I don't know, April. And these guys, you can't do that. Why? It's telling me that the Players Association is the strongest association of all the three leagues, and that the players run the show. That the owners need their stars on the field to participate, to sell tickets, to sell merchandise, and do the whole package. If you take all those stars away and you put them on the bench and they don't play, nobody shows up. And so I think there should be more than this. I don't think these guys should be able to play in the All-Star game this year, right? I don't think that any of these teams that participated on the teams that were actually known for cheating, I don't know if that's 17, I don't know if that's 17, 18, and 19, they should not be allowed to go in the Hall of Fame. Done. If these guys are getting caught cheating by putting steroids in their bodies and HGH and all this kind of stuff, and they're not getting in, then they shouldn't get in.
Yeah.
They're all cheating. They all go into that bubble of cheating, and I hope all the writers get together and say, screw this. Altuve's not going in. And by the way, this is going with Altuve all the way to his grave now, right?
Yeah.
And Bregman and these guys, right?
His tiny little grave.
Yeah. So I don't think they should be allowed to go in the Hall of Fame. If you're calling them cheaters, then they go under the bubble of cheaters and the umbrella, however you want to call it. And I think that these writers get behind that and say, look it, dude, you're just like the guy that was putting a needle in his butt and doing all the stuff the wrong way, right? So that's a couple things that, I had on my plate that I want to talk about, and I think Tony Clark, and I think the only thing that the owners have going for them, Major League Baseball has going for them is this negotiation in 2021, right?
Yeah, the bargaining agreement.
And I think the bargaining agreement is the only thing they have that they can play hardball with to get what they want, and the Players Association would probably just agree with it and say, let's just continue on. But it's just wrong. And getting back to what you guys were talking about, look, I'm not a fan of watching guys get hit. Okay, I know it's part of baseball, right? But now all of a sudden, here you have your ace, and I'm probably, I don't know if I'm right here, but I guarantee you every Astros game, umpires are going to go to benches and go, if somebody hits, I'm just giving you the warning right now. If I see it's on purpose, he's gone, right? Or I don't know if it's a warning or what they're going to do. But you're going to have all these pitchers getting fined for throwing at these guys, right? 1. 2, if Haney comes in, first pitch Altuve's in his back, and he gets tossed. Okay, let's go to the bullpen. I mean, we got to have a guy ready up. So what do? Do you throw in Johnny Starter on to just throw it Altuve, and then you have Haney ready to go? I mean, I don't know. It's just, throw it in his back. But what if one gets away? What if one gets away and takes it off the ear, or the back of the head, or whatever? Could get dangerous. Take stuff away from them.
Yeah.
Take stuff away from them.
Here's the problem, and we've talked about it before. The commissioner is a patsy for the owners.
He's as soft as soft kids.
And I can tell you, there will be no hard negotiations with the Players Association, because we've already seen that Rob Manfred is, soft, very soft. And he's already come out and said it, and said, my hands were tied with the Players Union. We gave them immunity because we wanted the truth. And, my hands were tied with the Players Union. They hold all the cards.
It's a bad impersonation.
It's terrible. No, I'm just telling you, I'm making an impression of a dope. Like a guy who's a dope. Not actual Rob Manfred.
Thank you.
But some, idiot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way Jake sounds sometimes when he's had a few too many tall boys.
Yeah.
I sound a little more intelligent than that.
He sounds smarter than that. But, Jake, there's more ways to get at somebody on the ball field than just throwing it in his back, right?
Going in hard, doing other stuff like that. And, I think you're right. Didn't Manfred already kind of give the teams warnings already?
Right. No,
Yes.
he's already come out and said it.
So,
you can't throw at these guys. Well, you think Bob Gibson would?
Oh, yeah.
Drysdale or these guys would?
Exactly.
The optics of it are not only did I protect the players, and by virtue of that, the owners, because and I'm protecting my CBA negotiations by not pissing off Tony Clark and the Players Union. Not only did I do that, but now I'm protecting the cheaters. I didn't punish the cheaters, and now I'm protecting the cheaters. And the optics are just it's all boiled down to that. I am so weak that the only way I could get to the truth was by letting cheaters get away with cheating, putting nothing in place that prevents anything from cheaters from cheating again electronically. There's nothing in place to prevent that. And going forward, I'm going to protect the guys who cheated from being hurt. And from retribution. I don't understand
Well,
it.
and the thing that I don't get either is what happens when all this Red Sox information comes out. Alex Cora is going to start throwing more guys under the bus. So, I mean, with guys like Correa and Altuve speaking out, they're going to, I feel like this is going to get worse.
By the way, I don't think this is done. I think Boston's about to open up, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's the whole deal. But I guarantee you the hottest going ticket in town is the first game of the Astros in New York. That's got to be the hottest going ticket.
May, right?
I don't know when it is.
No, I think that's. I think
what's going to happen.
Yankees are in Houston in May.
When Houston goes down to play the Yankees in spring training, there will not be one star on that team unless it's a guy that has to do some innings pitching.
Look, I've heard a lot of other nonsense, and there are a lot of trolls online, right? And somebody will say something, and I'll just say, look. What's this going? What's it going to be like? And Astro fans are defiant. They're defiant. None of them are saying, take down the flag. I don't want that. They're saying things like,
it's over with.
So what? Then we get free base runners and we drive them in. And then they say things like, and there's GoFundMe pages to to help when somebody gets thrown at and a fan charges on the field to participate in a fight. That's what they're posting.
Yeah, I've seen something like that.
GoFundMe pages to protect guys, to bail money and lawyer fees for guys who are going to jump out of the stands and protect. It's just gotten way out of hand.
It's a GoFundMe page.
It's ridiculous. It's awful. It's awful. And when fans start injecting themselves in that way into it, that's why fan comes from the word fanatic. Fanatical.
It's not done. It's going to continue to go. I think this is going to be a big snowball. It's going to be a bad product for a while with Major League Baseball. Or is it going to be a good product because everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody's talking about it. But now you've got guys like LeBron James and athletes that are from outside of baseball that are chiming in on this thing. So this is a global thing or a worldwide sport issue that's going all over the place. And I just don't think – I think it's just getting going. I think this is an avalanche that's about to – and it wouldn't be surprising to me that 4 months in or 3 months into this or Shire that if Manfred steps down. I don't know. That's just so much pressure that he can't handle it anymore.
Well, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Because
all he's doing is dog paddling until he gets the collective bargaining agreement. And, I don't think he has any authority or any power to be negotiating that with the players' union. I think he's lost that credibility. Yeah. They know that he's going to bend over backwards for owners and players, and they're just going to hardline it. And that's the reason the players' union is quiet about this right now. They're gonna say when two other people are fighting, right? The public and all of these individual players, and they're all against the Astros and against the commissioner's office. There's absolutely no reason for the players' union to get involved in this right now. There's no reason. All they're going to do is they're going to get collateral damage
because the Angels open up with them, right?
In Houston, and then they come, and then Houston goes.
Do you think Haney throws at them?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think that
if he's even healthy for opening day? Let's just put that into perspective too.
No, I don't think I don't think anything happens on the road.
No,
that.
But
for me,
it just doesn't
make
they're
any
on the
sense.
road.
Absolutely, and they open up. I think they start 12 out of their first 18 are on the road.
The Angels.
Houston.
Oh, Houston.
Oh,
well, they play at home.
But then after, they're on like a big West Coast tour. It's gonna be interesting
because I think the Angels' opening day is against
Houston. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
With a bunch of Dodger fans
Yes,
and Yankee
Pantone
fans.
294 will be
294 will be loaded.
in attendance. And
There'll be more blue than red in that place.
There will be.
Which will be the only time I have no problem with that.
The thing that I don't get
And
is
everyone
that
gets along.
Nobody
Right.
coming out. Dusty Baker's trying to be
doing whatever he
this
can.
presence
Yeah.
and stabilize things. But if I'm Dusty Baker, I'm saying I got your back, but shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with guys like Josh Reddick, right?
Yeah, that was a
who are
stupid
marginal,
comment to
say. Yeah.
pieces
even
of
a star,
trash. Who probably, I didn't see all of the stats. I'm not sure if he was one of the guys that was cheating, and maybe that's why he's, opening his mouth, because it wouldn't have helped him much anyway, because he's a hunk of crap.
Yeah.
And he's just, I don't even understand how he's been on teams making the playoffs, other than the fact that everybody else on his squad was cheating. Yeah, he was horrible with the Dodgers. He just was just a horrible player, and it makes me even angrier for a guy who just pissed his pants with the Dodgers to come out and say something like that. I want to punch him in the neck. And Markakis is one of the guys who would also like to punch these guys in the neck. He thinks they need beatings.
Yeah.
And all of that is because they cheated. They lied about cheating. They continue to lie about how much they cheated, and they continue to just flap their mouths. And it's a lot of this would have gone away if the commissioner had done anything that was
Right.
even remotely punitive, right, towards the players, right? And any of these national guys who come out and totally take this milquetoast approach to saying, well, it wasn't nothing. It was $4 million, and it was 4 draft picks. And, it's like
Which is
that's
nothing.
four-
That's
nothing.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. And anybody who goes online and writes that it was not nothing is a moron.
Right.
It is somebody who's trying to kiss butt
Right.
for the Astros or for the commissioner for Major League Baseball. And that's not how it's going to go away.
Right. No.
By saying that, well, just look real closer at the punishment. No, because more and more stuff is going to come out. Wall Street Journal or whoever, there are more things that are going to come out. And the only thing that the Astros can hope for right now is that the Red Sox thing just sort of spreads it out a little bit for them,
and
that everybody starts hating on the Red Sox.
And I haven't read too much into the whole Dodgers situation, but how is the Mookie Betts and David Price thing been going with the Dodgers?
sounds-
Just been quiet and not talking about it?
Yeah, they're not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not talking about it. They're still involved. And again, the players have immunity across the board. They're going to have immunity in the Red Sox case. David Price and Mookie Betts, if they were involved in any way, again, it's going to be like the Astros. It will be with impunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing there that's forcing anything to happen, and it's for the commissioner to come out and say, look, this is not as big as the Black Sox scandal. That was 1919.
Oh.
The reason that you guys are making such a big deal about it is because of how, we've evolved since then, and how much, social media and all this crap, and just trying to marginalize it. The way that he marginalized the trophy, he's marginalizing how people are viewing this and trying to say that, oh, it's so different than that was. The Black Sox scandal was the reason there was a commissioner to begin with, right? There was nobody in charge, and he came in, and even though they were acquitted in a court of law, he said, I don't care. I'm the commissioner, and we need to clean this up for the integrity of the game now and ongoing. Anybody who does not bring this sort of cheating, right, and throwing of games to the attention of their teams immediately and to the office of the commissioner, sorry, you're gone. You'll be banned for life.
And this is where I think Manfred should actually go. If you're okay with doing what you did right now, and this is how you acted towards this situation, then you should allow Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right? And then the other thing, too, is Shoeless Joe Jackson was aware of it. He wasn't involved in it. And there's another guy that should be in the Hall of Fame, right? So I think that those would be something I couple situations I think he should look at.
Yeah, no, and I agree with all of those things, and sort of the revisionist history of the actual facts. I mean, what did he hit? 375 in that series.
Yeah, exactly.
He played tremendous baseball. Was he involved? Well, according to what Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis said, it didn't matter whether he was involved or not. He knew. He was guilty by association, and that's why he was one of the 8 men out and banished for the rest of time. To me, there aren't a lot of things, and I think that for a lot of players, a lot of the big players to chime in and tell the commissioner, like Justin Turner did, and like Trout has, and Markakis, to tell the commissioner how they feel. I think that's all great. I think it still falls on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. He came out and made a second statement, and it was worthless, even more worthless than the first time. And it just tells you how milquetoast and weak he is. And we'll see what happens with the Red Sox. I think for now, I think there is some, as far as the fans are concerned, or the players, right now, they got to do their job. They got to look forward. If there's a chip on their shoulder, because they're pissed, that's fine. And if Houston wants to put a chip on their shoulder, they need to do it quietly and privately, and they need to just shut the hell up.
Well, I mean, if
you're cheaters, you cheated, and that's the end.
But if you're telling these players to move on and just go focus on your job, then the media should stop asking these guys questions about it.
Well,
unless it's affiliated with that team, right?
Yeah. I mean, I hope they continue to ask the Astros about this stuff, and and I hope they just lose and keep losing. But again, that's a talented team that probably didn't need to do that, and and maybe that's what a PR person, somebody who. You actually got a degree in public relations and does crisis management of the job I do. It's probably one of the things that they should have said. It's like, you apologize. You say things like that make people want to feel a little sympathy and empathy for you. It's like, we're a good team. We're a talented team. We didn't need to do this. We shouldn't have done it. We're sorry. And I'm putting my ring away. But for them to think that they still in some way earned it, I get that baseball players are proud, but there's got to be a part at some point where they just lower their head in shame.
Do you think the Astros have a ring ceremony?
Well, they've already had. I mean, they didn't win last year, so they've already had
that's
their.
Right. Yeah. That's right. They already did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we've talked about this. I mean, I think that an owner who just sort of winks at his players and says, it's cool. Yeah. They say, lower the flag.
Yeah.
Put the trophy away. You don't take the guy's rings away. But if they had just vacated it, or even if they didn't vacate it, the Astros, as a PR guy, I would have told them, don't flaunt it. Yeah. Take that flag down. Put the trophy somewhere private.
Right.
In your office, wherever. Don't put it out in the public. Just sort of for a little while, pretend like it never happened. Be apologetic, and this will blow over. Mm-hmm. But the more you keep, fighting, it's like the more you keep fighting the truth, and guys like Josh Reddick start piping in, the more people are going to hate you. Right. And if you're going to play the villains, that is a heavy mantle. There are plenty of guys on that team who play with chips on their shoulders, but they're not cut out for playing the villain. Altuve, for one, is just not cut out for doing that for 162 games.
No.
That is not. Maybe Josh Reddick, because he's a nobody, he can play the villain.
Bregman.
Maybe Correa, maybe Bregman, maybe some of these guys, but not all of them. Not all of them. And I just don't get the strategy, and it just feels like they're letting them just say whatever. If I'm the general manager and I'm the owner of that team, it's like just stay quiet.
Yeah.
You know,
especially Verlander too. I mean, the guy who bitches about everything.
Right.
And they were interviewing him, and he just was like, "Oh no, I still think we were a good team." It's like, well, yeah, you were a good team because you knew your hitters knew what pitches were coming. Of course. What happens if you were on that Yankee team, Justin, and you got shelled?
Right.
You saying the same thing?
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
Exactly.
It was wishy-washy.
Yeah.
But
I think the punishment we should take Kate Upton away from him.
Yeah, that yeah, us three.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Not the three of us.
No.
We couldn't even handle her.
No way.
In any way, shape, or form.
No.
I might be able to pour her a glass of wine or something, but
a tall boy.
I'd be going to the reliever pretty quick.
Yeah.
This is a family show.
Is it?
Yeah.
But one thing, though, too, that I wish Manfred would say, and I know there's been some rumblings, but take all the technology away. No more war room. You're a professional hitter. You're a professional pitcher. You don't need to go downstairs every inning and look, oh, hey, how that swing look.
Right.
You've been swinging for 9 months out of the year. Like, let's go.
Right.
That's one thing that they need. There's too many iPads, too many cameras, too many computers. Get those out and just play baseball.
Yeah. It's something that would prevent it, and it's one of those things that there is nothing preventing another team from cheating at this point. The technology is all still in place for them to do that.
And like you said, I still like about the whole cheating thing in 2019. I mean, when Kurt Suzuki's coming out and Zimmerman came out last night and was like, well, they didn't have the best technology because we still beat them. It's like if they're changing their signs every other inning because they know something weird's going on. Don't say, Correa, that we only cheated in 2017. Like, no, I don't buy that one bit.
Right. And we didn't cheat in the playoffs. When the commissioner's report indicates
I mean, I've heard the sounds. Like if they, I've heard the sounds of the whistling and yeah.
No, I mean I don't know. There's gonna be more to come, and it's gonna get uglier for them, and I'm glad.
Yeah, again, I've got a journalist friend who in New Jersey who sort of reached out to me and a buddy and said, "Look, did it really help that much?" And we didn't take tremendous offense to it, but it was like, yeah, yeah. The reporting is that it continued through the World Series. And so, for instance, here's one. They had huge success. There was one team in the last 100 seasons that cut their strikeout rate by more than 2 strikeouts per game in 1 year. Yeah. Guess who that was? It was the Houston Astros, right? So the Astros went from 8.96, 9 strikeouts per game in 2016 to 6.17 strikeouts in 2017. A drop of 2.25 strikeouts per game. Nobody's ever done that. No team has ever done that in 100 years.
That's a jump too.
Yeah. In 2016, the Astros swung and missed at 36% of all breaking balls that they saw at home. Okay, that were below the bottom of the strike zone. In 2017, they chased just 27. So their chase rate was 36%
to 27
in 2016 to 27% in 2017. Marvin Gonzalez went from 40% swing rate on those pitches to just 10% in 1 year. You tell me he changed his method, his approach.
Yeah.
Okay, you change your method, your approach. You're still the same hitter. You maybe change it by 5%, 10%, right? But to go from 40% to 10%, Carlos Correa improved from 27% to 15%, and they were the two of the biggest trash can bangers, right? And on fastballs in 2016 they slugged .503. So in 2016, before the cheating scandal, they slugged .503 on fastballs. In 2017, and that was at home, right? And so in 2017, they improved by 74 points to .577. Slugging on fastballs at home, a jump of 70 points.
Damn.
Nobody has ever done that except the Astros.
Crazy.
Yeah, so this is a guy who's a journalist who's saying, look, did it really help that much? And it's like, well, you need to be more of a journalist and less of an anchor because you're an on-air personality and maybe you're not doing the research. You need to go look at it because that's going to tell you that
So
they
did
had
you send
an
that
advantage.
information to him?
Dave King did.
Okay,
our buddy Dave.
And what did he respond to after
He
that?
didn't respond to it.
Oh, really?
Because, well, he's, East Coast time, and he wakes up for an early show that he's on. So he was just putting it out there like, why is everybody still,
That's
bitching?
crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, do your homework. Do your homework, and you'll see. And that's why people are pissed. And the more stuff like this comes out,
Right.
That was an article from an article in The Athletic that ran in January, right? But it has legs, right? People are still standing it and posting it, and those numbers are jaw-dropping. So check it out, The Athletic, theathletic.com. If you have a subscription, if not, you should get one. It's great. All right, we'll talk a little bit about, NBA All-Star Weekend. Did you guys watch the game?
Yeah, not a fan of the All-Star. But I thought actually after I saw the highlights, to be honest with you, it was a game that all you have to do is chime in for the fourth quarter. I thought the dunk contest, I thought the kid from Orlando got hosed.
Yeah, totally hosed.
And then I thought, is it Heidel? The three-pointer, he had to make the basket on the last. So I thought that was exciting. But other than that, I'll be honest with you, I don't watch it.
The Kobe tribute was fantastic.
Right, it was. I did see that. But I started to watch the first 4 buckets, and I'm like, oh gosh, stop it. And but then I watched the highlights. The fourth quarter got really interesting.
It's fun.
Like, there was a deal where I heard they had like 2 fouls in the first quarter, 2 fouls in the second quarter, 5 fouls in the third quarter, and 20 fouls in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, let's say you started playing a little defense.
They started playing a little bit more defense, yeah. So it was quite interesting that way. But
it's an interesting, a little too much math for me, but it's like what you had.
But what Michael Jordan did for that town, there wasn't a lot of Michael Jordan talk, was there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was a little bit, but again, the Kobe thing really, overshadowed everything. But
I like what they do with the jerseys.
Yeah, that was very cool. Everybody wearing 2 or 24. Or,
2 for the one team, 24 for the other. Yeah, and then you got his tribute. In 5 days?
The memorial.
24, yeah.
At Staples, and they're telling people, if you don't have tickets for it, stay away. There will be nothing. They will not be broadcasting it on the big screens outside, and stay away. But interesting. So just going back to the fourth quarter thing, it's 24 points to the leading team score, and whoever gets to
157.
Whoever gets to 157 first wins, which is fun because you've got a target to get to, and it made for a lively, competitive game in the fourth quarter, and guys playing a little harder than they.
And he missed the first free throw.
And he missed, and AD missed the first free throw. Yeah, but he canned the second one. So. Very interesting stuff. The NBA gets started. We can talk a little bit about the Clippers if you want. I think that they just keep making moves. They've got so much cap space that they keep making moves that even if they're not 100% going to help their team, they're keeping them away from the Lakers and other teams. And so I am a diehard Lakers fan. When I look at those teams and the tenacity, yes, the Lakers have a lot of talent. AD and LeBron, I would take over, Paul George and Kawhi. But in a 7-game series,
no chance.
I'm taking the Clippers.
Yeah.
The Clippers,
the depth.
The Clippers,
second team is just so much better.
The Clippers are more tenacious, better at shooting their threes, better at shooting free throws, and just a deeper team.
Yeah, and the Lakers have too many guards.
Yeah, the Lakers don't want to. Yeah. But they have guards, but they don't have guards that can guard anybody.
Yeah,
it's like
shoot.
The bald Mamba is not going to deliver a championship, nor Rajon Rondo. He's been rough. I know they're a better team with him. The numbers bear out. The advanced statistics bear out that they're a better team with him on the floor. But oh boy, it's the same thing. He can't defend anybody anymore, and he doesn't finish at the goal as well as he used to, and he can't shoot a three. And so the 3-pointers are coming down, and the Lakers are coming back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
Any thoughts from you on the Clippers or the Lakers?
Nothing.
Okay,
I
we'll
mean,
move on.
the Clippers got Morris, and now they're and so I just think that he's
They
just going
picked
to
up
go
Jackson too, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they did Reggie
But-
Jackson.
and then they're going to. And then
Right.
Morris is going to push people around and cause stir and be the bully, and but again, it's more depth on that team.
Yeah.
So
And then the Reggie Jackson where they bought
Yeah.
out his contract.
Yeah.
They're doing it the right way. They had the cap space and they're building up their roster. They're doing a great job. Look, I haven't been enamored by the XFL. I mean, it's fun to watch football in at this point in the year when there's not a lot of stuff going on. Your opinion of the XFL? Have you watched any of the games?
Watched a little bit. I think there's some good ideas that they're doing that I think could translate over to the NFL. It's not as hard of a watch as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting though how they have for gamblers how they have the spread and the over-unders on games.
Yeah, but
On the
I don't
screen.
think
On the
they go
screen.
enough into that. I mean,
No,
if
yeah,
they
just
had
kinda
if
right
they
there.
had a
Just throw it
guy
out.
because
Yeah.
look, one of the things that I've found and probably to the detriment of me and my family and my well-being and my financial health is in-game live
Oh,
betting.
Yeah.
I've never even tried to
Yeah,
do that.
I don't even know the players on these teams, and I'm like, I want live. What is Seattle in the second half? And it's like, okay, hold on, pump the brakes there, buddy.
Yeah.
We don't know who's on the team either, but the Dragons drew 29,000.
Yeah.
Well, L.A. did Johnny put 14,970, and I think those were fans for the L.A. team.
For the Wildcats.
Yeah,
where
but
you,
here's-
you get 20,000 for the
Yeah,
Chargers
I
game,
know.
but
Half are Chief
15,000 of them are
Yeah.
for the other team. This was 15,000. Hopefully,
I think
For
I
the
don't know
LA
if those
crew.
numbers are going to go down or what. I mean, I think they've got the right markets, but
Yeah.
I can't get behind an LA team in football where there's just guys that what you're rooting for them to, yay, make it to the NFL. Do throw less interceptions and make it to the NFL.
We talked about this last week, but I mean, I am for this new kickoff.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like the kid.
I like it too.
I think
that
that is a safe way to go, and
I think neurologists and neurosurgeons are for it as well.
Yeah.
There's less
what's funny
impact,
is you
less
got a guy with
collisions.
a camera in the backfield. He's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I think that guy's in better shape than the running
Yeah,
back.
but see, here's the thing with that, right? It's again, there are trade-offs with that, right? Okay, if you have talented kickers, right? The penalty is just too punitive to move it to the 45. It's like you're trying to get less collisions, but the guy doesn't quite kick it to the 20, so you move the ball to the kicking team's 45. It's the most punitive penalty in the history of penalties. Other than back in the day, I watched a old classic of USC playing in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State, and they threw a pass into the end zone, their end zone. The Trojans were on in the red zone, throw a pass into the end zone. Offensive pass interference was a turnover and a ball to the defense on the 20-yard line. So an offensive pass interference in the end zone was not like march them back 15 yards. It was turnover to the other team and a touchback. And that's like, I mean, I was too young to remember this rule, and when I saw it happening live, I was incredulous. I couldn't believe it. It was the most punitive penalty.
Did USC cause the personal foul?
Yes, and it wasn't a personal foul. It was a pass
Pass
interference. It
interference?
was a PI
Oh, wow.
in the end zone, on an offensive pass interference in the end zone, right? Back in the day when a defensive pass interference in the end zone wouldn't have even moved the ball to like the 1 yard line like they do in the game now, or the 3 yard line or whatever. It was just weird, and so that's sometimes I look at this thing and go, okay, first of all, I don't know why you can't kick it past the 20,
right?
right? Except for the fact that that's why you're in the XFL,
Right.
as a kicker. And why the hell are you bringing it out to the kicking team's 45?
Do you like the 1.2 point 3 point thing?
It's fine. It's fine. It's a
mind
gimmick,
it.
right?
Yeah.
It's fine.
But I think what I like about it is they're open. If the NFL says to them, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this," they're like, "Okay, we'll give it a shot." They're like this open book that doesn't. They're not going to be like the USFL. Like, no, we have our rules. You have your rules. They're like, yeah, let us know what you want us to try.
Well, that's because the NFL doesn't look at the XFL as
it's not a competitor.
no,
they're not taking their players, right?
No.
These guys can. And we talked about it. I go, I think you might be able to find a slot receiver on one of these teams or a running back that can catch the ball out of. There's a lot of guys that catch the ball out of the backfield here, and I think that they could be a third or fourth string, and fill those last couple roster spots. Okay. I don't know. You might.
Jake, I'm going to ask you this. Phillip Rivers, no longer a Charger. Did you watch any of Cardale Jones with DC?
Yeah,
and
is there Joe Namath?
And is there anything about that where you go, dang, I wish we still had Cardale Jones?
No.
Now that
No.
exactly,
No.
exactly.
No, that was the thing too. Cardale Jones was zipping into pockets where it's like, dude, that would
There's
never
no
happen
rush
in
in the
NFL.
Yeah,
XFL.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's no rush.
It's minor league football. It's minor league football.
It's almost like the All-Star game, right? The Pro Bowl, they just stand up.
But listen. If there was any way that they could hook that up live into Vegas, and there was running in-game live prop bets on who gets the next turnover, which player is going to score, and I could be betting live and watching this game and doing all of these things, I'm in.
Vinny sounds like the guy that running it in the Caddyshack.
Yeah.
$50 he picks his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think we need to talk about. I mean, we might need to have a conversation. You were watching a USC game back.
Oh yeah,
19,
he'll roll.
Is that
into
back in
all
the?
the time,
Sorry
yeah.
about that, man.
No,
It's like picking up an old book.
Yeah.
It's like picking up an old book that he read.
It's exactly right. It's exactly right. And again, for
It's all good.
yeah.
I still watch the 2002 Angel video some nights.
Yeah,
You should. Yeah, when you're feeling a little low,
those
run
were the
you've
days.
run out of
Those
beer.
were the days. Yeah. Oh, there's Tim Salmon.
I miss her, Stan.
And you're thinking, yeah, that ex-girlfriend, she apologized like the Astros
Just
are
did.
apologizing.
That's when we had a
dumping
reliever.
me.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
Troy
what closer look
Percival,
like.
Yeah.
Exactly. So speaking of the Angels and Artie Moreno, and when I heard that what the Dodgers were getting for Jock and that Ross Stripling was involved in the trade, I was just thinking, God, this is a salary dump, and boy, the Angels are in a good spot for getting this. So the question I ask you is, was that just hubris? Was that just ego on Artie Moreno's part?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're also saying that there was more to it, but he's not
Yeah.
expressing why. But
Yeah.
we talked about it last week. It's just it's frustrating because we just got a good defender that's going to lead off for us. That's got pop. You're going to take your second baseman now, which is going to be Fletcher Listella. You're going to put him in the 9-hole, and now you got a second leadoff there. And
It was a balanced lineup.
again, and then we felt better about winning games 11-10, with that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Now,
Plus you get
now it sounds like we
quality
didn't want to wait
starter.
3 days, and now there's more to it, but he doesn't want to talk about it. It's over with, and here we are back to, and by the way, I don't know what you're feeling about that with the Dodgers, but I don't think that's done. I think they're still trying to shop Jock somewhere.
Absolutely. But here's the nonsense that came out of Artie Moreno's mouth that made me absolutely laugh. Well, we weren't going to sit around and wait. We needed to get, pull that back, and so we can go out and pursue a high-end starting pitcher.
There is none.
There's none. The only one that's left is John Gray, and you got to trade for him.
That's with Colorado, right?
Yeah, that's the dumbest when he said that.
That's
And I'm thinking,
that's what the Cubs want.
I'm thinking,
the Cubs wanted Gray
wait a
Arenado.
minute. Wait a minute. You might be able to parlay Jock Peterson and Ross Stripling into a little bit better starter, but there's no way that the guys that you gave us you could parlay into a better starter than Ross Stripling.
Yeah.
God, no.
No,
so it's so I find that disingenuous and laughable, and it was totally ego. It was just he was butthurt. And it was like, look, hold on, we're trying to figure this out. We're giving you a good deal, so just hold on a second.
It's 3 days.
But it's the first time that we actually seen in a long time that Artie voiced his opinion on something. So which means tells me he doesn't like what Epler's doing. So which means tells me that Epler's on he's on a thin piece of ice right now. So Artie never got involved with no, stop that trade. He never got involved. It was he just let it happen. Now all of a sudden he's voiced his opinion on this. So that kind of threw up a red flag for me, which means you don't trust what Epler's doing, right? And so that's telling me that Epler, you're on a thin sheet of ice right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get off to a bad start. Bye-bye.
Epler's gone. Wish he would have voiced his opinion on Hamilton. That'd have been nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or he's still at Fritz's. Sorry, too soon. It's a family show. Sorry, apologize.
It's family show.
Family show. Let's keep those to a minimum. We can talk
nice
a little college football. College basketball.
I look I don't know what you guys think about San Diego State. I think it's a good story for the Mountain West. I think it's it's great for college basketball, but they really haven't played.
They got to play somebody.
Anybody really in the top.
You're right. Look, I don't disagree, but this feels like a different San Diego State team.
And I hope it is. I hope they make a run. I really do. I hope they go a long way, and I hope they prove. But that everybody across the nation is saying, Sandy, they play Nevada, they play Boise, they play UNLV, blah 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 blah.
College.
But I agree, they're actually holding their own. They're beating these guys by a lot, right? But
absolutely,
I think with what they got together, they can compete against anybody. I really believe this. And I hope it goes to where they get. Hopefully, they get a 1 seed, right, or 2 seed. I don't know what they're going to get.
It's going to be hard.
Right.
If they get a 1 seed, they're gonna be on the East Coast, and that's a tough road to hoe. If Gonzaga stumbles a little bit, maybe they can parlay winning out and winning the Mountain West tournament and parlay that into a 1 seed on the West. But
there's another West Coast team. Do you think San Diego State can beat Gonzaga?
I do.
Yeah.
I do under the right circumstances. I think Gonzaga has some flaws, but I still think they're a very good team. I think that both of those teams are deserving of 1 seeds, and I know that there are plenty of SEC and ACC honks and Big Ten honks who would say, show me the money. But San Diego State's for real.
Yeah,
this is a team that finally can not just play defense, which is what they were used to doing, but actually shoot the ball, which was something
they have 3 kids that are studs.
That was something that. If you remember some of those Kawhi teams, Kawhi wasn't scoring 20 points a game with that squad. I mean, they would slow it down. They'd play defense, and he would get 10 and 12, and that would be, that was what Kawhi was doing. He'd sometimes go off for 20 or whatever, but he wasn't averaging 20 points a game with that team. That team had a lot of guys that were averaging anywhere, 4 or 5 guys were averaging from 9 to 12 points a game. This team feels different. This team feels like a team that can stop on the defensive side, run it a little bit and shoot the perimeter 3. And if they make their free throws, they're going deep. I'm a big believer in this team.
Yeah, I'd love to see the run.
Yeah, so. I'm a big believer, and Brian Dutcher has just carried on what Fish established there, Fish was right to make him the heir apparent, and he has really put together a great squad, and he's recruit. It's easy to recruit to San Diego State, right? Trujillo's, right?
Yep.
That's all you got to tell a kid. You got to just take the kid there, right?
Yep. Get the California burrito, your night's set.
You are set. Couple tall boys and Trujillo's, and you don't even need a girl.
No.
So a little hockey.
Talk about college coaches. The Cavaliers and John and Bayline, right?
Yeah.
Just parted ways. So there's a lot of college teams that are going to be phoning him up real quick, right?
And they should,
if he still wants to coach. I don't know.
I'm sure he does. I think he does. I think that he had such a bad experience in the NBA that he's going to want to go back to college.
Yeah.
And best of luck to him.
Yeah.
Switching to hockey, we'll talk first about the Kings, who are dismal, and they're in rebuilding and revamping, and
someone's dumping.
And they are dumping. So Tyler Toffoli gone, Alec Martinez. Very sad day for me. I loved Alec. Excuse me. on both of those Stanley Cup teams, and it's hard. He was a pretty good defender. He was a stalwart back there. So tough to see him go, but on the Toffoli trade, they get the Tyler Madden, who he's a little guy. Yeah. He's fast. He's got 19 goals, 18 assists in 27 games played. And he just fits in with a bunch of, king prospects like Alex Turcotte, Arthur Kaliyev, Samuel Fagemo, that are just killing it. I mean, I'm looking at these. So it's going to be an awful year. It's going to get even probably more awful, but hopefully they'll start shuttling these guys from the Ontario.
Do you think they'll get rid of Quick?
No, they already got rid of one.
Yeah.
They got rid of Soupy.
Yeah.
And so they might. It depends. Since somebody wants to take that contract, I think anybody who's got a big contract who is long in the tooth, like Kopitar, even Doughty, and Quickie, I think that it's a true rebuild. This is going to be at some point down the line a very fast team, and if these kids can learn to finish at the pro level, these kids are all 19, 20 years old. Alex Turcotte, for instance, is still at the University of Wisconsin. Tyler Madden is still playing at Northeastern. So these kids are in college, right? And they're playing on their college teams, and that's where these numbers are coming from. But some of them, like Tobias Bjornfot, who is a big defender, who can score a little bit. He's got 4 goals and 11 assists in 31 games played. He might come over from where he's playing in Sweden, and they've got some good players on that Ontario Reign team, and they'll just continue to shuttle them. And that's the thing that I'm looking to watch when I'm watching the Kings. I'm not expecting them to win. They've won. They win a couple of games. They get up against Winnipeg, and then they poop the bed, and then that's just pretty typical. As McClellan said, they folded their tents, and that's pretty typical, and that's why you're seeing them move guys. And I think there's probably more moves that could be made for this team.
Next Monday's the deadline.
Yeah, so Monday's the deadline. But the Ducks are in a position where they're at least in striking distance, and also a team that has a good farm system. But I just don't know what's wrong with this team. Why they're not winning?
Defense. It showed you against Calgary, where you had a 3-1 lead and blew it in the they put up 2 goals in 19 seconds. It's defense. It's kind of the young guns. Guys are stepping up. Guys aren't stepping up as much as they thought. It's a good core group. Next Monday is going to be interesting though for them. I hate to say it. Some of the guys that I think are on the block, I really like, but I feel like if you can get more for that, then go for it. I know Duck fans don't really want to call it a full rebuild, but they've been calling it kind of like a retool, but I think they kind of just need to just rebuild it now. You got the goalie set for another 6-7 years.
Right.
You got the young core. Let's just go. I mean, if you got to trade Henrique, you trade Henrique. I know he's got 20-something goals this year, but if you can get younger and faster, perfect. Let's just go that route.
That seems to be the way the NHL is trending, and I'm looking at some of like for instance the Kings prospects, which I'm having a lot of fun watching them. But some of these guys are tiny. I mean, they're little. I mean, you were talking Paul Correa type size, but fast,
Scrappy.
great stick handlers, and and that speed. And it's all about being able to be strong enough to finish at the goal. Because I love Adrian Kempe, right? Oh. But he's got to learn to finish at the goal. Yeah. And he's got a little size on him, right? Yeah. He's not a little guy, but he is super fast. But it's like if this kid could just finish.
Troy Terry for the Ducks. That's exactly him.
Yeah.
But the good thing about the NHL is rebuilding only takes, it can take 1 year. Yeah. 1 to 2 years. It's not like how, back in the day where it was 5 to 10 almost. Teams can turn around real quick like the Coyotes did.
Yeah.
So
what's going to happen when Seattle comes in? Are they doing the same type of draft?
Sounds like they are, yeah.
That got Vegas into the Stanley Cup?
Who do they lose? Who leaves? Is it Nashville leaves?
No. It's a new team. It's an expansion team.
I know, but does somebody leave the
The Coyotes
well,
do.
well.
Coyotes do.
Yeah.
Coyotes are going to the Central.
Yeah.
But Nashville's all the way. Oh, they're going to the Central.
They're going to
Got
the
it.
Central,
All right,
yeah.
got it. All right.
And then Seattle would take
Right.
the Coyote spot, which I don't know. I think travel purposes, I feel like you could take another Canadian team and move them to the Central, but
A.
yeah.
Loser.
But yeah,
Have another donut. You fell on your own, you fat pig. That's one of my favorite hockey videos.
But no, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait for that draft and how Seattle's going to be. I think it's going to be fun. New blood.
Any word on the St. Louis Blues player who
Yeah,
collapsed?
he's back
back
back home.
Got a defibrillator
Yeah.
put in, right?
Yeah. He's back home and just resting, and everything seems to be like it's going to be they're not talking about hockey, but he's going to be fine.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
forget about that guy. Just
And
get
the
get
guy
healthy.
was a workhorse.
Yeah.
you know?
No, he's a hell of a
35 years old.
Yeah,
right?
but he was a workhorse. Played on Team Canada's. I mean, he was just just a
Great
workhorse
defender.
and great defender. But they just said, hey, look at, they put a defibrillator in there, and they just they wait till he was 100%, and then they flew him back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And he's just home resting. So that's all.
Yeah,
That,
so
that's
a couple
all
of
that I know.
a lot of scary things.
And then Ryan
Newman, absolutely,
Ryan Newman walked away today from the hospital,
which is unbelievable
with his
to
two
me.
kids. Yeah, that was
the way that
insane.
he got plowed by
Yeah, that was
was
that
it
was
La
crazy.
Joy?
That was crazy. Yeah.
Joy rather.
But I just it's mind-boggling those guys going that fast and just flipping in the air, and that just tells you how protective those neck guards are and those chairs and
the Hans device
Hans
and
device,
absolutely,
it's just crazy.
Yeah,
but that was
that was
crazy
it was
crash,
scary. It was
and
absolutely
crazy
scary.
because you got Earnhardt. That's where Earnhardt died 19 years ago. It's just it's a lot.
And he
stuff.
hit it. He hit the wall very similarly.
He was spinning there. Earnhardt just went right into the wall.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, he hit the wall and then flipped, and while he was flipped is when he got hit right on the side by
right
LaJoy.
where the netting is, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah,
which to me was very scary, and the fact that it burst into flames, and it was crazy. And then I was telling my wife, who doesn't follow this stuff at all, but it's obviously a human interest thing, and just saying, look, I mean, it was like the final lap in overtime. He had the lead.
Yeah.
He was winning, and the guy was drafting and just got a little squirrely.
But I
on
mean,
him.
look what happened with the Logano got on. I mean, there was 40 cars or 30 cars going, and then Logano tapped somebody, and he took out 15 cars right there or something like that.
I mean, that's restrictor plate.
Yeah. Well, this whole pushing
for
stuff, man. It's. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you only got it about three
I know,
wide.
but
It's like
now these guys are on teams. They start pushing each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's amazing, and but you can't keep that up for long. I mean, obviously, that restricts some of the airflow, and you can burn things out, and you just can't keep it up. And then when people are drafting behind you, and then that draft goes away, they're catch you and you stall out a little bit and they catch you in a heartbeat, and that was kind of exciting. At least the last the last hour of the Daytona 500, the last, I don't know, what was it, 12 laps?
Yeah, last 25 laps got really exciting.
Yeah, a lot going on there. So we've had a lot to cover, and I think that's going to do it for us. You got anything you want to talk about with golf or the Genesis?
I was up there on Friday. I was actually shocked that the scores weren't lower. Thought there wasn't much rough. It was gorgeous, maybe a 5-mile-an-hour wind. Had a great a great bunch of guys there. A lot of top players were there. And I just think what they did is they put pins in some spots where if you're coming in at the wrong angle, it was going to be really hard to get close to. So, it was a great finish. Adam Scott won. It's been like 3 years on the PGA Tour since he's won, although he did win the Australian Open this year. But you had two Aussies that won in California. Leishman won in San Diego, and now Adam Scott won in L.A., and they're off to I think it's Mexico City. They're in Mexico this week. So
why did you look at me when you said that?
They're off to Mexico City.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Or wait, they're off to Mexico City. They won in San Diego.
Speaking of cheating,
Yeah.
So now we got so the guy loses his job at on whatever channel he was broadcasting for golf, and then he comes out and says Reed's been cheating a lot.
Peter Costas, yeah. There's been a lot of stuff, and Koepka just went on the radio and he started voicing his opinion on some stuff, but yeah, I thought that was over with, and now cheating is popular. This guy lost a job, and now he's trying to stay relevant. So he's saying, "Look, I've seen." He goes, "Look, I don't have to do it. I've seen it a lot." He's what he's saying. It happens a lot. I've seen it in San Diego. I mean, it's good to pick on a guy that nobody really likes. And,
that's easy, right? It's easy,
and they don't like his wife either. So I don't know. It's just
I would say this is a family show, but he doesn't speak to his family anymore.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So,
but interesting. So, people to staying relevant.
Tiger. It's one of the things that is really hard to do is when you're hosting a tournament, it's really hard to play well that week because you got so much PR that you got to do. And you could tell he came out and said, my body just is not right. Well, that's because this is a routine guy, right? He goes to bed at this time. He wakes up. He starts his stretching. But, when you take him off of that and go, oh, you got to go shake this guy's hand. You got to go to dinner here. You got to, press conference you got to do here. You got to speak here. It's just really hard for a guy like that to really host and actually play well at the same time. So he made the cut, which was good for the crowds, to come out and watch him. But that's why he took Mexico off, is because his body just isn't
he needs
the same.
it. He needs it.
So.
He needs to hire you to press the flesh. You're the mayor.
Sure, no problem.
You could do that for him.
Yeah.
Jake, anything you want to finish up with?
Glad baseball's back, so it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Spring is sprung. Baseball is back. Let's get past this the Spygate and this cheating scandal. and
Good luck to the Tritons this year, Jake.
Thank you. We're going to need it, but it should be a fun season.
9 games in 7 days.
9 games in 7 days starting next week, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, well done, Skip. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Yeah, good planning by the skipper. Not that skipper.
The other skipper.
The other skipper.
Exactly.
All right, for Jake Formansky, John Adams, and for our absent captain, John Stellman, I'm Vince Morales. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.